anyone would like to ask a question or two, maybe? Yes, please. Dr. Mujib Sahib seems to be prepared, huh? What's sitting in your hand? Is it some question you are holding in your hand? No. Right.
Assalamu alaikum. Many Azhar Ahmadis who are educated, and when we explain to them the Ahmadiyya point of view and preach them, they always raise one very strange question. They say that the promised Messiah has done enough, we accept that, about the religion, but he has not given any contribution towards the independence of subcontinent. I mean, politically, while he was at the time, all the Congress was formed and the Muslim League was formed.
What are they waiting for?
Pardon?
What are they waiting for? A political leader or a religious leader? Because that is to be decided.
When I said the people from the subcontinent,
their view is very similar to the view held by the Jews of the time of the promise of the earlier Messiah. So there is one other similarity between the old Messiah and the new Messiah, that the people of this age are asking the same questions and having the same expectations of the promised Messiah as the Jews of the earlier days, or the first Messiah, did to, with regard to the first Messiah. But they twisted things. They misinterpreted the great prophecies, and they started to believe in a Messiah who would be the Redeemer, not the spiritual Redeemer, but a political Redeemer for them. So they were expecting someone to come in corporeal glory rather than spiritual glory. So that is why they mocked at him, at the earlier Messiah, and said, "What crown have you brought?" The one whom we were awaiting, he was to bring a throne and a crown to the Jewish world. So out of mockery and derision for him, they put a crown made of thorns on his head. So that is how they treated him. So you can expect the similar treatment today in the modern days.
but when I said include the people from the continent, I included the Christians and the Hindus as well.
If he is for the whole world, the earlier Messiah was not for the whole world. So the attitude of the Jews only was similar in this regard. But now he is the follower of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whose message is for the whole world. So naturally the whole world should raise the similar objections to him.
Could I ask another question to her?
If others have asked you other questions, why not?
No, that is my own question.
Yes, okay.
As we have been told by the tradition of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Hazrat Ali is Khatimul Awliya.
Yes.
In the same way, we read about the Hazrat Muhyiddin Arabi, who said, "I am Khatimul Awliya as well."
Right.
Now the meaning that we take, Khatimul Awliya, like the Khatimul Nabiyin, could be the only one. So how do we reconcile with the statement of Muhyiddin Arabi?
Yes, you can easily, because the fact is that the word Khatam, as used in Arabic, is to give somebody the highest, pay somebody the highest tribute. And sometimes it is related to time and sometimes it is unrelated to time. When Allah pays such tribute, using the word Khatam, that tribute must be considered timeless, because his knowledge is all comprehensive and transcends everything else. It applies both to the past and to the future. So if Allah declares someone to be Khatamun Nabiyyin, his Khatimiyyat does not remain related to time. It becomes timeless. But if man uses the same word, because man has limited knowledge, and his usage of the word should be understood in relation to his own capacity and his own limitations.
Thank you.
So, no, that's not all. Now, when we come to this usage of man, then generally the Arabs do not begin to compare one khatam with the other. Anybody is at his liberty to consider somebody as khatam. So it becomes that in his view, he is the best. And it's to be understood just as that. They don't begin to make comparisons and pick up fights that all right, you said Mutanabbi is khatam and I think Mutanabbi is not khatam and somebody else is khatam, so let's come to begin to cut each other's throats and try to declare each other Mutaraddin and this and that. They never took this stance. It only meant that if you consider somebody to be the par excellent in certain qualities, you had a right to declare him Khatam an-Nabiyyin. Whether others agree with you or not, that is irrelevant. Nor will they take objection to your views. So let them call anybody else a Khatam in certain regards. So why to quarrel on this issue? Because it only means, in your view, some particular person has reached excellence beyond all, above every other, to the very highest degree. That is all that it means.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, please.
Huzur, continuing in the same vein, sometime when both Christians and non-Ahmadis, they listen to Ahmadiyya viewpoint, yes, and they accept the arguments and they appear very clear to them, they then say that if things are as easy to understand and as simple as is presented to them and as they accept, then how is it that millions upon millions of people don't see it that way? And perhaps there must be some other hidden reason,
yes,
because of which those millions of people
to the Muslims you can say that don't you believe that the Holy Quran has been made easy for everyone? قَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ. This is the declaration of the Holy Quran. So how far this statement applies to the realities of time? Why, first of all, why most Muslims cannot understand this Holy Quran, which is made so simple and easy for everyone to understand, and why the majority of the human population rejects it entirely and does not consider it worthy of belief. Why? First you solve this why, then our turn will come. So using your method of answer, we may use the same weapons and answer you in the same way.
And with regard to the Christians, sir?
The same. Because Christianity to them at the time of Jews was a thing so easy of comprehension. That was the only truth. Though Jesus Christ says, I am Alpha, I am Omega, He is the beginning and the end, and He is the way, the only way. So if there is the only way, only one way available, why can't people see? Where there is no path, their eyes begin to conceive things. And the only way which is present is missed by them totally and entirely ignored. Why? The answer to all these questions is given in the first verse of Surah Baqarah. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. To understand and recognize truth, and also to have courage to accept it despite all odds and all oppositions. This goes to only muttaqeen and to none else. Only muttaqeen can do such a thing. So it is no doubt the holy book is huda and it is made easy for everyone, but only for those who are muttaqeen, who are God-fearing enough to say the spade a spade when they see one, and to have the courage to declare a truth despite opposition of all types and hostilities of all types. And such people are very few in the world. So few people accept truths when they are revealed. Yes, Dr. Mujibul Haq Sahab.
Assalamu alaikum, Huzur.
Wa alaikum rahmatullah.
I don't know whether I should use this phrase that apparently, as you sir mentioned, Quran is hidayah for muttaqi. And as we learn that a person becomes muttaqi after learning Quran or understanding Quran. So apparently it seems catch-22 that unless a person understands Quran properly, he doesn't become muttaqi, and unless he is a muttaqi, he can't understand it. So how do we
Yes,
solve
I
this?
understand the apparent contradiction, but there is no contradiction whatsoever. The word muttaqi can be understood variously and at various levels. The simplest meaning and the most elementary meaning of the word muttaqi is the one who has the fear of God. No, the one who is guided to the right path, he also may have fear of God, and the one who is not yet guided to the right path, he can also have a fear of God to a certain extent. Yes, please. So to have the fear of God is the first qualification. So in the simplest terms, the word muttaqi just means fear of God. Now when you have fear of God, you can progress and further know the meaning of the fear in such with such refinement that as you progress along and look back at your first stage of fear of God, you can yourself see the difference so much that as compared to the later stages you have achieved, your earlier stage of fear of God can be said as having no fear of God. So it's only a matter of progress. To begin with, the simplest definition of taqwa would be applied here in this verse from one point of view. And when you apply the simplest definition of taqwa, it may include also mushrikeen. It may include atheists. It may include anybody, any human being. If that was not true, then none from among the mushrikeen could have accepted Islam, because the first condition laid down here in the Holy Quran is that it is only a guidance for the muttaqeen. So how could hundreds of thousands of mushrikeen be ultimately led to the truth of Holy Quran if they did not have taqwa? So the first definition of taqwa, the preliminary definition of taqwa, must include people without bringing into focus the differences of their religions and their doctrines. That definition must apply to the common man. And it is as simple as that, to have fear of God. You know, mushrikeen among Hindus, for instance, you see people who have that quality of fear of God. And when you approach these people, they become Muslim very quickly. And that applies equally both to the illiterate and the literate, the uneducated and highly educated. Those are the most highly educated people who do not have that initial quality of fear of God. You may continue to argue with them for the whole life, yet they will not understand. They will try to, counter your arguments whether they are convinced themselves or not, but they have that quality of lack of fear which prevents them reaching the truth. And on the other hand, the simplest man who has that true quality of fear of God, without having even much knowledge, he would immediately accept. And those scholarly people too, who are highly advanced, if they have the quality of fear of God and they are approached by a simple man who is uneducated, they would not look down upon him. They would not show any arrogance to him, because the fear of God would prevent them doing it. And if they see truth coming with their way, from a man who apparently is a lowly placed man compared to their knowledge and their wisdom. They will just grab the truth and forget about who is presenting this truth to them. So here, initially the meaning taqwa has these rudimentary, elementary meanings. But also it has the most advanced meaning as well. And herein lies a message for the mankind that a new phenomenon, or let's say a new chapter is being opened in the history of religion. No other book, and mind you, when I say that, I say that with some personal knowledge of many other books. No other book, to my knowledge, has ever claimed that this book is for muttaqeen. Though all books claim that if you follow us, you will be turned into muttaqeen. So the Holy Quran is the education for the educated. This is the highest class of taqwa revealed in this book. Earlier books claimed that if you follow us, we will lead you to true knowledge and guidance of Allah. And then you will become muttaqi. The Holy Quran says no. The first requirements, the prerequisites for joining this higher education system, institution, is to have a measure of taqwa before that. If you have reached that, then you are capable of joining it and learning greater and more intricate things. So looking at it from a different point of view, that is the highest definition or more refined definition of taqwa. The claim would be, the meaning of this verse would be, that the Holy Book teaches those meanings of taqwa and guidance which were not earlier revealed by any other book. So where you ended, from there you will have the starting lesson if you join this Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam's club or his college or university, whatever you may call it. So this is why Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam, when it was alleged against him that he had taken his knowledge or he was educated at the hands of some other scholars, and that is where he learned all the religious knowledge. In response to this allegation, he said that digar ustadra namina danam ke khanam dar dabistan Muhammad. I know of no other name as my master and my teacher. I am a pupil of the school of Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his school alone. So this is the claim made here, that people who have already reached great heights in taqwa, if they accept the book, the Holy Quran, and accept the guidance of the Holy Quran, they would be led to higher guidance because they are muttaqeen. And if you are not a muttaqi, then you will not have passed the prerequisite examination. Now there is a revolutionary change in the outlook which can also be witnessed in the prayer of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam and the way it was accepted. The previous system was really different. The previous approach to guidance was actually different. Earlier people did think, even the most learned among them, that you cannot reach taqwa without guidance first. First you must be guided and then you reach taqwa. That is, tazkiyah and taqwa are one and the same thing. And the Holy Quran presents a revolutionary attitude which is completely different from this. So the prayer I am referring to is the prayer by Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam regarding the coming of Hazrat sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. While he was raising the foundations of Khana Kaaba, he prayed to Allah, Rabbana wabas fihim rusulam minhum yatlu alayhim ayatika وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ. Now this order is very important to note. What he prayed for was that, O God, raise from among them a prophet who would read to them your the verses which revealed to him. Ayat here means the verses, the teaching which is revealed to him. وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ. And with the help of that revelation which you have made to him, he would teach them the book and also teach them the hidden meaning of the book and the philosophy behind that teaching. Having done so, وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ. He would turn them into muttaqeen. Tazkiyah and taqwa are one and the same thing practically. He would purify them. That is taqwa. So Hazrat Ibrahim thought that before any prophet claims to have turned people into muttaqiyeen or zakiyin, he must go through the process of first this recitation of the revelation, teaching of the book, and the teaching of the philosophy of the book. Having done these three things, then he can expect that the people would acquire a measure of taqwa and tazkiyah nafs. So the previous concept about all this was exactly the same. But when Allah accepted this prayer regarding Hazrat sallallahu alaihi wasallam, although he accepted this prayer in toto, all these four elements of the prayer, ingredients of the prayer are mentioned in the acceptance of Allah, but the order was changed. You know, the order which was changed, as we find in Surah Jummah, is this: وَالَّذِي بَعَثَ فِي الْأُمِّيِّينَ رَسُولًا مِّنْهُمْ يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِهِ وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ وَإِنْ كَانُوا مِنْ قَبْلُ لَفِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. Now here tazkiyah is not mentioned at the end, but it is inserted between tilawat ayat and talim kitab and talim hikmah, education of the book and education of the philosophy of the book. So that means that the quality of Hazrat sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his teaching would be so great vis-a-vis the purification of souls or giving them the true taqwa, that he would not stand in need of educating people and teaching them the philosophy before he could claim that now they have been purified. Just by the recitation of the revelation, he would have his own quality of purifying people. So that is where taqwa is placed. It's brought earlier than the teaching and the philosophy, etc. So a revolution has taken place, and this is the third meaning. Why this hudal lil muttaqeen? That only those people can benefit from the holy people directly without education, who have fear of God. If you do not have fear of God, even if you spend your lifetime in the vicinity or closeness of good people, you will not gain anything. Like we find in Mecca, Abu Jahl lived the same Mecca and used to see Hazrat sallallahu alaihi wasallam almost daily like others did, like Hazrat Abu Bakr did. But when Hazrat Abu Bakr heard of the revelation having been revealed to him, he immediately accepted him. While Abu Jahl could not recognize him even after long years of struggle, from the time when this revelation was declared to the people of Mecca. He didn't receive any impression whatsoever. Why was he impervious to the influence of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and why was Abu Bakr recipient and Bilal recipient and other Hazrat Ali was recipient? Because they had taqwa and Abu Jahl had no taqwa. So to benefit from the closeness of a holy man directly without the help of teaching. There is a direct influence which is called quwwat-e-qudsiyya or quwwat-e-tazkiyah. It is essential that the person who wants to receive some benefit should have that quality of taqwa. Otherwise he cannot receive any impression. So there are so many angles to this, to the understanding of this verse, but a very beautiful world of wisdom is being contained and concealed in this book. Yes, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Lord, when we study the history of religion, we find that there are very few people in the beginning who have taqwa. And yet the Holy Quran makes this claim, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. So what does it mean?
Summa Radhana, why don't you read the rest of the... Please. Summa Radhana Vasfala Safili. Illa Lazina, that means the exception is our few people.
Very little exception.
Yes.
But here it is the whole of the mankind is mentioned.
Illa means the exception begins from here.
Yeah.
And exception is always much less than the general. Those who are accepted are always fewer. When I say that all people should come to me except you, that is normal. And when I say you should come to me except all people, this is abnormal. Because they are in majority, so exception is made of the minority.
Yeah.
So the very fact that an exception is made here means that those who would be included in the list of Amanu wa Amilu Salihat, they would be much fewer in comparison to those who would be made subject to Summa Radhana Vasfala Safilin. Moreover, this is a very simple phenomenon. We should be, I don't see how one can be confused about it at all. The institution of prophethood has a direct bearing to the lack of taqwa of the people of the time. When Hazrat sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was sent as a messenger for the whole mankind, the world as such is described in the Holy Quran as Zahar al-Fasadu fil barri wal bahr. The disorder is the rule of the day now. It has overwhelmed both the oceans and the dry land. That is to say, the religious people and non-religious people. World in every way, in every respect. That has been completely overwhelmed by disorder and chaos. This is why there was need for one who could create order out of disorder. So lack of taqwa was the predominant feature at the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that always is at the time of any prophet. When ordinary measures fail to rectify people, when the lack of taqwa is become a rule of the day, then prophets come and they begin to first attract those few who are exceptions already. Then through them they launch a great movement of picking up people who have even a small measure of taqwa, increasing that taqwa, and through that they to impress others and enroll others into the list of those who can be described as having some taqwa. Sometimes people who are extremely hostile to the truth to begin with, they seem to have no element of taqwa in them. But there is always some measure of taqwa within them, hidden and overwhelmed by the lack of taqwa. So sometimes, suddenly, that seed of taqwa within them sprouts and begins to flourish ultimately. And that, minority element of taqwa becomes the decisive factor in their life. For instance, Hazrat Umar Radhiyallahu Ta'ala, how did he accept Islam? If he had no taqwa in him, he would have remained committedly hostile to Muhammad and his message. But to begin with, his taqwa was not enough to lead him to the truth. But a struggle had begun. When the prophets come, that struggle begins in every heart who comes in contact with the message. To begin with, it's not possible for people having a very small measure of taqwa to be guided to the truth. But a struggle begins, and within that, their own selves, they are fighting a battle, inside, which is not visible to us from outside. But Allah knows. So ultimately, their taqwa becomes ghalib, that is predominant, and only then they are guided. So that condition remains valid. This is why Hazrat Masih has described this process in that, in that manner that it will become, if you have sadhat, that is the same taqwa is referring to. He doesn't say you will immediately accept the truth. He says, jiski fitrat नेक है, आएगा वो अंजाम कार. That means he'll end up ultimately. So taqwa would win, of course. But to begin with, if taqwa is small and overwhelmed by lack of taqwa, then it will take its time to develop and to ultimately overwhelm and flourish.
Thank you, sir.
There are two verses relating the subject which...
You go to the microphone and let's share, all of us together.
There are two verses of the Holy Quran relating the subject which Huzur has mentioned. The first is about the earlier stage of taqwa, which is fattakullaha mastatatum. And the second is ittakullaha haqqa tuqatihi wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun.
Mastatatum, translation bhi dekha dena iski.
The first verse is that you should do taqwa.
You should exercise taqwa.
You should exercise taqwa
according to your capacity.
Yeah.
That means
yes,
that taqwa is not of the same capacity.
Yes.
Every man has a taqwa of different capacity.
Yes.
Once you begin to do that, then do not die until you have become real muttaqeen.
Yes.
That is the second verse. Yes, please.
I got a big question.
Sir, will you kindly introduce yourself first?
I'm Sri Mohan from Sri Lanka.
From Sri Lanka?
Yeah.
And what's your name?
Mohan.
And so you are a Tamil-speaking person?
I speak Tamil.
You're Tamil, yeah, not a Sinhalese.
I'm a Sinhalese.
No, right, yes.
I got a big question. I was born Hindu family.
Of course I know that, no, yes.
And at the moment I don't normally believe in a religion.
Right.
I believe that there is a God. I want to see Him. And I do go to church.
You believe that there is a God?
There's a God.
That's very good. And you don't believe that there are two gods or three gods?
No, I don't believe that.
You believe in one God?
Yeah.
So we have that common platform to begin with.
That's right.
Yes, very good.
I do go to churches and temples, mosques.
Yes.
One of my friends, Sabriya, he has studies with me, some other books, Muslim books. And Quran.
He is your friend?
Sabriya.
Are you the one who wrote to me about your friend? Only the other day, yesterday, I received the letter in which you mentioned that you are going to bring a friend of yours from Sri Lanka, who's a Hindu, but who is a very, right-minded person and righteous type of person. He is the man. Thank you for bringing. All right. Yes.
Thanks a lot. I would like to know, as we all were created in the world, Earth, as a human being, and at the moment we are having lots of religions and lots of parties, and they all are saying that this is the only way to approach God.
Correct.
But I think that's the only way to approach God is being honest and love God. I don't know God, who my God is still now. I would like to know, why did the religion come into this world and discriminate all people? That's the first question actually.
So if any religion has a correct approach to this problem, I'm posing you a counter question. If you come across a religion whose approach to this general problem is very sensible and acceptable to your nature, won't you be ready to agree with that religion which agrees with you?
I will.
You will?
Yeah.
So Islam is just that religion.
But I don't know much about it.
I'll explain. The Holy Quran says, and Hafiz Sahib is going to take up from there and start reciting the verse which I have in mind and which I'm going to tell him. The Holy Quran says, without the mention of any religion, Man amana billahi. But before that it says that from among the Jews and Christians and Sabi'in, that is other religions, whoever has faith in Allah and does good deeds, such people will have no fear, nor ever any grief shall come upon them. No, not only has Allah declared here, the Holy Quran itself, that there is no monopolization of truth. To claim that only people following Islam would be ultimately forgiven by Allah and the rest would positively be declared as fit fodder for hell, this view has been totally rejected here in this verse. On the other hand, having done so, that this verse goes on to explain in detail that people of the Jews, from the Christians, with whom the Holy Quran has already picked up a battle, a great battle. Even people among those, among such religions who have the right-mindedness, who have a true faith in God and do good deeds, they should not have any fears. They should not accept any grief to come upon them. So is that not a correct approach?
Yeah, I do understand.
Don't you think so?
I do understand. But it's the same thing. Others are also saying.
I'll come to that later. There are so many stages yet to be discussed. But first, give me your opinion on this issue. So far, whatever has been said, do you not agree with it in totality?
I do agree with that.
Very good.
Said, but
so, in that much you have become a Muslim already. Yes, naturally.
Yeah, I want to be Muslim.
In that much, yes, yes.
I want to be
Agree,
Muslim.
yes. Now, secondly, the Holy Quran's philosophy should be further understood. Otherwise, you will not understand this interrelationship of religion with religions and this mutual fight. If Islam had made only this statement, this simple statement, and ended up the matter there, then there should not have been any ensuing struggle between Islam and other religions. This declaration seems to tell everybody that whatever your religion be, you shouldn't be afraid. You're all right as long as you believe in God and as long as you do good deeds. But that is not all that Islam says. There are other aspects which are also brought to the limelight. Yes, you have to ask a question which comes repeatedly to you. So why not have done with it so that later on I'll answer you in view of that question which is agitating you.
Okay. So if you all believe in God, did God say to people that Islam or any name, did he put a name for us to approach God?
I'm coming to that. The second declaration, which stands on the other extreme, is this: Inna Deena Indallahi al-Islam. Verily, the faith for the people, for the mankind, is Islam. And a few verses afterwards, it further declares that وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ. And whoever accepts any faith other than Islam, or presents as his faith any faith other than Islam, he would not be accepted, his faith would not be accepted and it would be rejected outright by Allah. So there are two extremes to the same question which have been tackled by the Holy Quran. On the one hand, you find this universal declaration of peace and glad tidings that whoever fears Allah, has belief in Allah and has his fear and does good deeds, he should not have any fears about his future or about his redemption. On the other hand, it says, the only deen which is acceptable to God is Islam, and no other deen will be acceptable to him. So how can you reconcile with these two teachings? Now, I'm going to explain that. Now you have not thought of a third question now in the meantime.
No, it's okay. I agree what you said.
Yes.
But I don't know much about it.
Yes. So I'll explain. The fact is that the whole enigma would be solved if you read the Holy Quran and understand the teachings and the approach of the Holy Quran towards truth in its totality. The Holy Quran declares in another place, that also is a very important, relevant declaration. La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wusaha laha ma kasabat wa alayha maktasabat. That it is not for Allah to compel people beyond their limitations, to expect things from people which are not within their power. Everyone would be made subject to responsibilities according to his own capabilities, and he would be brought to book according to his own knowledge and his own status as given to him by Allah. So that is also another declaration which applies to the same subject. In view of this, and in view of so many other verses which I can quote, but to be brief, I give you the whole picture now. According to the Islamic philosophy, the fundamentals of all religions are the same.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Every religion must have the same fundamentals, and all the fundamentals of all the religions must agree with each other.
They must, yeah.
This is one declaration of the Holy Quran. وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ وَيُقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُوا الزَّكَاةَ وَذَلِكَ دِينُ الْقَيِّمَةِ. That all of them were given these three fundamental teachings. They should worship God, they should be just and right in relationship with their human beings, their people, other human beings, yutu zakata, and give them their rights. Ya'budullah mukhlisina lahu dina wa yuqimu salat. First of all, they should worship Allah with all sincerity, not for any other purposes or mixing their personal, show and things, but entirely purely for His sake. Wa yuqimu salata, and take measures to establish the institution of worship of God. Wa yutu zakata. Now zakat is a very interesting and a very comprehensive word, and here it comprises all the various aspects of zakat. The essential spirit of zakat is that instead of exploiting others, instead of depriving others of their rights, you better do something to favor them and be kind to them. And take your rights and give to others is zakat, and whatever is contrary is rejected. It cannot be reconciled with the philosophy of zakat. So in one single word, the Holy Quran describes the very fundamental teachings of man's relation with man. That we taught at every stage of revelation of any religion, that man should do one thing essentially, that is, he should not deprive other human beings of their rights. But not only that, he should try to part freely of his own volition, of his own rights for the sake of his brothers. That is zakat. So this is the fundamental teachings according to the Holy Quran, which was given to all religions. So that verse which I first read, it should be understood in the light of this declaration. The meaning is that if somebody has been born in some religion and sticks to the fundamental teachings of that religion and have faith in God and does good deeds, mean this teaching which I have just told, the preliminary important teachings are followed by him, then such a person should have no fears. But that is not all. The Holy Quran further goes on to declare that different teachings were revealed to different people at different times. And after a teaching was cancelled out and a new teaching replaced it, the fundamental rule of this change was, number one, that no teaching was cancelled out or replaced by another teaching unless God did one of the two things. Either that lost teaching was replaced and rehabilitated, or a better teaching was revealed. Now this phenomena would lead you ultimately to the verse which I have just mentioned, Inna Deena Indallahi al-Islam. By that process, Allah tells us in the Holy Quran that if, for instance, let's call Adam the first prophet of God, he brought some teaching which fundamentally was the same as I have declared, the Holy Quran has declared, I mean. Then after the passage of time, according to the Holy Quran, people began to interpolate, to change the teaching, to interfere with the teaching, and to give their own views, attribute their own views to the teaching. That is disrupting the whole process and distorting the teaching. That process continues for a while. After that, the name of the religion remains the same, but the fundamental is no longer discernible. They have been so much destroyed by the hand of human beings, corruptly minded human beings, that the whole teaching has lost its initial impact and the very spirit from which the teaching was revealed. At such a time, what can Allah do? There are only two logical ways. Number one, to rehabilitate the teaching by sending another prophet who has not revealed a new teaching, who has not cancelled out the previous teaching, but who says that this and that change was brought about by the mullahs or by the pandits or by the clergy of certain central religion, and they are man-made things. Allah never said these things. So He has revealed to me that the original teaching was this and not that. That is the replacement. But there is another possibility. In the meantime, the mankind has improved and progressed to a degree that the previous teaching in its detail is no longer applicable to their conditions. They have progressed in so many regions, they have got more education, they have broadened their views on things, and new problems have arisen out of the passage of time. So the old teaching appears to be like smaller clothes which one has left behind in time while one was a child. Now the body has grown up and you need larger, bigger clothes, more suitable to your requirements and needs of the time. So in that case, what would Allah do? Instead of replacing the whole teaching, rehabilitating it, it would reveal a new teaching to suit it. That is exactly what has been declared by the Holy Quran. So if this process goes on until a complete teaching is revealed to the mankind, which is not only for a tribe of a certain time, but it is fit to guide the whole mankind as such, when Allah considers that the time has come when man as such should be unified under the banner of one religion. Of course, that teaching would be a very comprehensible teaching, although it would have the same fundamentals as the most rudimentary teaching with which we started. So would you believe that anybody who claims that I would stick to the rudimentary teaching and reject this teaching would adopt a vice course? Will that rudimentary teaching suffice him at a time when a more advanced teaching has been revealed? Now, to understand this phenomenon, we better give reference to the material progress of man, and then you will understand it better. 1,000 years ago, the road which connected Manchester with London was also fundamentally a road. It provided the rudiments of a road. The concept of a road was fulfilled in that road. After that, that road, through passage of time and through other calamities and so on, started losing its value as compared to the time when it was built originally. So it was repaired from time to time. But at the same time, the man progressed, gained more knowledge. The whole outlook of the road was changed. The size, the quality, everything was completely new. Now suppose the old rudimentary road is still in existence 1,000 years hence.
Yeah.
And somebody insists that I must drive on that road which was built 1,000 years ago and which has been abandoned. His plea would be rejected in the sense that if he attempts that, he would face so many dangers. That road would have, first of all, will have no longer the same security, because abandoned roads are not looked after. So abandoned religions, as compared to the newly revealed religion which is being maintained by God, are as if a road has been abandoned and is no longer looked after. It would have pitfalls, it would have, brush growth and other growths of so many sorts, obstacles and things, so that it is no longer usable in a manner of speaking. But let us conceive a man who does not know that a new modern road does exist. He has no knowledge. A poor man, a simple man, as if he has been reborn from the older times. He knows of only one road which was built 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Bad as it may be, if he follows that road, nobody has a right to kill him. Nobody has a right to compel him, because in his own simplicity, to the best of his knowledge, that is the only available path between London and Manchester. So all that he can do is, in good faith, follow that road. So if somebody whom the message of Islam has not reached, who is not in a position to compare the new values with the older values, dies on that path, following that rudimentary religion, but has good, honest intentions, has true faith in Allah, and his conduct his relationship to other men is good, by the simplest standards.
Yeah.
The first declaration is about him, that such a people should not fear, because he would be judged according to his own capacity. But it would not apply any longer to him, this facility, or this license, if the message of Islam has been revealed to him, and he is capable now, adult enough mentally, to consider that message and to accept or reject it on merit. If that message has been delivered and having normal wisdom, normal faculties of head and heart, he still rejects the message of Islam. Then because it is truth, so Allah would reject his message and say, all right, Inna Deena Indallahi al-Islam. Now the latest religion is Islam, and if you reject the latest religion of Islam, your older religion would be rejected, it will no longer be accepted. This is the totality of the picture in which you should understand the Islamic teachings.
Thank you very much. I've got many questions. I don't want to take a long time. So I would like to write.
Well, you can still ask a question or two.
Plenty of questions.
What we will do is that we will not give Rashid Sahib any time tonight.
I'll ask you the last
He
question.
can ask his question tomorrow at Islamabad, yes?
If God has created all human being, animals in this earth, and we call it as a paradise. And I don't believe in that there's a hell where we are going to go. And
you believe that there is a paradise, but you don't believe there is a hell.
I don't believe that. It's entirely up to us. We can make it as hell, because that's what happened in the...
Do you believe in cool shades, shadows and coolness? Do you believe in them?
No.
Don't you?
I believe there's heaven and...
No, I'm asking another question to you. Do you believe in shades, cool shades, which give you relief and comfort?
I believe that.
But you don't believe in sun, scorching suns?
I believe that.
Why? Why in both these things?
I can see.
One cannot exist without the other. The lack of one is the existence of the other.
Thanks.
Now you follow? Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Why do you have to have this sort of trouble in the world? We are killing each other and fighting and...
Ask those who kill each other, we don't.
I mean...
The fact is, this is the same reason in fact, I have already explained this phenomena. People are no longer right-minded. They will not be punished for following a religion in which they were born. The Holy Quran in another place positively declares this. Addressing the Jews, it says that if you are honest, if you reject Islam with honesty of purpose, then why don't you follow the religion in which you have faith? You don't follow the religion in which you claim you believe, honestly and purposefully.
Yeah.
That shows that you are not right-minded people. So your rejection of Islam is as worthless as your acceptance of Judaism, in which having belief you do not, which having believed you do not practice. So when this crookedness prevails in mankind, and when basically people have become selfish and crooked and wrong-minded, and whenever there is a question of a choice, they would not go for the absolute justice, but their decisions would be made only according to what suits them, even if it's cruel for others. If that is the state of mind, then religions are just ruses. They do not mean anything anymore. So whether they are Hindus or declared Hindus or declared Christians or declared Jews or declared Muslims, basically their religion is one and the same religion. That is crookedness and selfishness. So when this thing happens, then you can't expect good things of this world. When everything's wrong and topsy-turvy and crooked and bad and ugly, and the beauty is only to be found in the internal order of things, of human beings. If the internal order is correct, then there is beauty, and then that beauty would be shared by the outside world as well. If no beauty exists within, how can you accept the whole world to become beautiful? So it's the ugliness of man which is being reflected in our politics, in our religion, in our sociology, in our other relationships. This is why Allah reviews religions and revives religions if He doesn't have to change the religion. And this is why there is Ahmadiyya. This is what we are striving for.
But I wanted to, I was a Hindu, so as soon as I came into England, I started, because people normally come and knock at the door and ask me, do you believe in it? So I don't say that I'm not. Come inside and talk to me about it. I just wanted to learn about it. At the moment I have lots of questions, so I can make up my own mind in future and ask other people not to do the wrong thing, do right things.
You see, my advice to you is simply this, that accept Ahmadiyya version of Islam. Therein will lie your peace of mind, because you are a logical person. And from all among all the Islamic views, that is the views held by various sects, I can claim it with positive, I can claim it categorically, that only Ahmadiyya view is totally rational and logical. In Ahmadiyya, you will not find a parallax between nature created by God and the word of Allah in the form of a book. They are perfectly in accord with each other, according to Ahmadiyya point of view. And the philosophy which we present has no measure of compulsion in religion, nothing to which a sane man can react and say, no, it's not acceptable to my nature and so on. So, if you want a simple and straightforward, honest answer, this is my answer.
Thank you very much.
Accept Ahmadiyya, that is to say, the Ahmadiyya version, Ahmadiyya version of Islam. And then you will begin to not only know peace, you will feel peace. You will know that you are living a purposeful life. Then you will know that you are fulfilling the object of your life. That is to strive for betterment of things. To pursue an object, noble object, and to ennoble your soul in that process and ennoble the souls of others. This is what you live for. Otherwise, it's a huge waste, this life of yours.
Thanks a lot. I will study more about it.
This I know, this will be done after a study and after prayers, of course. But I mean, in a nutshell, this is my simple, straightforward answer to your question.
Thank you very much. Bahut shukriya.
Jazakallah. Thank you. You know, I have been visiting Bangladesh now, Sri Lanka many times. You know that? Yes. And the first time I went to Kandy, I fell in love with that place, you know. It's beautiful, isn't it? That botanical garden is something unique in this world. Yes, I have seen that. And I was so overwhelmed by this, by the quality of the awe-inspiring quality of that garden, and its uniqueness. Nowhere in the world there is such thing as botanical garden of Kandy. Yes. Because, among other things, I mean, it has a collection of all the strange and rare plants, etc. That can be claimed by some botanical gardens of New York or USA or European countries and so on. But they cannot claim the fragrance of the air which you can find only in a tropical country like, you know, like in Sri Lanka. The same things I have seen grown, the same plants and aromatic plants and so on, during my tour of some European country recently, in Holland, yes. They had produced, you know, a sort of tropical garden in which you could see many of those plants which I had seen grown in the botanical garden of Sri Lanka, but without a smell, without a flavor, without an aroma. Just, you know, the dead pictures of a human being. Yes, so when I say it is unique, I mean it is unique. I can prove that it is unique. Everything there is alive. And the collection of butterflies and this and that, you can't conceive of those things anywhere in the world except in a land like Sri Lanka is. Very lucky to have this.
At the moment, in North part of Sri Lanka, it's getting very worse.
I know, it's terrible. Again, this, you know, the same attitude of selfishness is creating this on both parts. In the one hand, there is cruelty perpetrated against the Tamils by a government which is very sure of its power and majority and so on and so forth. On the other hand, that minority has no rules of the game either. That they can kill the innocent people if to register their protest, and they don't care how many and how much and how and in what manner. So when the man has become crooked, you know, this is what happens. It's free for all and ugliness increases and multiplies by itself. So it's terrible, I know. But the fault lies with the man himself. If a religion improves the quality of man, then those things would simply disappear. Yes, you did raise your hand earlier too. Would you
What is the difference between Akhareen and Akhareen?
just a moment. Would you like that to be brought to you if it's difficult for you to reach there? Huh? All right, somebody should bring the microphone to him. Because he lost one leg in an accident, so although he's got a sort of leg attached to his stump, but still it's difficult to walk.
Assalamu alaikum, Hazur. I want to know what is the difference between Akhareen and Akhareen.
You know, the word Akhareen is a technical term used by the Holy Quran, which can be translated in English by the people of the latter days. Akhir means later, and Akhir means latter. So whatever is the difference between the word later and latter applies to these two words. They have the same relationship between each other. Akhir means after some time. So anything which happens in a later date is a thing belonging to the Akhir. But latter days is also a religious technical term. Bible also refers to these days as latter days. The last phase of human development in which huge eventful things are to take place, where man is to be brought under one global religion and so on. All the previous religions have been predicting of such golden age when in the end at last mankind would be led to a universal truth. Hindu religion has also been speaking of this, Buddha religion has also been speaking of this, Judaism and Christianity, all in their own respective ways have been promising mankind of an age which would occur, of course, in the end time, closer to the end according to their concepts. But those days, that special age is called latter days. So the word Akhareen with a zabar, that is a fatah over it, means people of the latter days. وَآخَرِينَ مِنْهُمْ لَمَّا يَلَّقُوا بِهِمْ. That is to say that would be the important time when Ahmad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would sort of reappear. Not directly, personally, but through a subordinate raised at that time.
The second question is...
Was there a second question?
Yes.
Yes, all right. Yes, go ahead.
Hazrat Sulaiman has prayed that Rabbi ghafirli wa habli mulkal la yanbaghi li ahadin min ba'di innaka antal wahhab.
Yes.
And Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam has prayed, de inko deen o daulat kar dur har andhera, and so on. He has prayed Hazrat. Now Sulaiman alayhi salam, why he prayed that la yanbaghi li ahadin min ba'di?
Now this verse has been understood differently by different scholars. Most people believe that by that he meant this the worldly reign that was given to him by Allah. That kingdom, that is not the spiritual kingdom, he is not referring to the spiritual kingdom.
Yes.
Now this belief is correct. The majority of the Muslim scholars interpret it as that what he referred to was the worldly kingdom and not the spiritual kingdom. Because as far as the spiritual kingdom is concerned, much greater kingdom was to come yet at the time of other prophets, particularly at the time of Ahmad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he couldn't have said that. Now, Yambaghi, the word Yambaghi carries the key to the understanding of this prayer. He was a very wise man. As such he is referred to in the Holy Quran, and also Bible sings the praise of his wisdom. He is supposed to be one of the wisest prophets. So he understood that after him, his son and other followers do not have the capability to discharge the responsibility as Allah would have the responsibilities discharged towards the responsibility of the kingdom. So he prayed to God. He was not selfish. Had he been selfish, he should have prayed that, oh Allah, let my kingdom continue in my progeny and grow in size further. He said, I would rather have a smaller, diminished or a broken up kingdom than my kingdom in the hands of such people who are not just, who are not honest, who are not righteous enough to discharge the responsibilities of this great kingdom which has been bestowed upon me by Allah. So in my opinion, that is what he is expressing. But most of the Muslim scholars, though I agree with them that he referred to this kingdom, do not explain this part. They are left wondering why he did that, and what the message they receive is simply this, that he loved grandeur so much, which is wrong. I don't believe that a prophet can be referred to in the Holy Quran as a self-aggrandizing prophet who loved grandeur so much that he says that even deprive my own progeny of that grandeur. That would reduce the image of Hazrat Solomon to less than an ordinary man. So I reject that meaning. I only agree with the first part, that what he referred to was the ordinary worldly kingdom. La yanbaghi li ahadin has got the key, which means which is not suitable for others. What he saw was, as Holy Quran further explains in the same surah, that his son was incapable of spiritually discharging responsibilities of that kingdom. He was like a dead body as compared to that spiritually alive body of Solomon. So he prayed against his own son, because he did not want his people, the people of his kingdom, to be treated unjustly by a man of his son's quality. So he said, all right, if that is to be so, then take away the grandeur of this wisdom, this kingdom, and break it away, and whatever may happen to it. Don't hand it over to incapable hands. That is the meaning of this prayer.